The Naomi Osaka story has been fascinating to me over the last couple of days for a lot of different reasons that include some history that I think is important before we arrive at discussing what is presently happening now, which is a long time ago when tennis was patty cake. If you look back at ESPN Classic and Navratilova and Chris Evert are playing, it's a much different tennis. It's just a charming, quaint time of manicured lawns and cute skirts and trophies, and it was a different time in America at the start of the advent of women in sports in a way that made people pay attention. And those women, Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova and Chris Everett, started a gender and sexuality conversation before sports was ready to have it and before America was ready to have it. As you realize that all of the things in the arena right now are coming through the prism of politics and race and everything that's happening, just know that once upon a time, the women's game, that game was the country club, right? It was the country club. It was privilege. And it was just a different. Chris Everett was the only one in that equation allowed to be a country sweetheart. Okay. Cute as a curtsy, like just sort of 1970s, dates Jimmy Connors, bad boy, just a different time. And so from there, Compton invades the country club. Serena Williams and Venus Williams and their loud, crazy genius of a father, Richard Williams, changed a lot of things in that sport, largely a white sport to that point, for the privilege, changed things in ways that, man, Serena's as great a champion as we've ever had. Uncommonly strong might be the greatest of her gifts, because what she endured was critiques of her body and her attitude and her swagger and her outbursts and her demeanor. And, if we're being honest about it, a lot of coded stuff about her culture, because Compton had gotten to the country club. So that's the backstory. And Serena Williams is as good a champion as we've ever seen in our lifetimes anywhere in sports. Naomi Osaka wrestles the sport away from her, from Serena Williams. And she arrives in a place where she is very young. Serena and Venus went through a different set of things coming through this country club. She is very young, but she is at the center right now, physically, the way that she looks as a phenom, culturally, as America's at war with itself and with people who are others. She's got Asian, she's got Black. She is at the center of wrestling that sport away from Serena Williams, who changed it with her power and her grace. And she wrestles it away. And now, by quitting, she wins. By admitting weakness, she is strong. At the end of Mental Health Month, that sport with its rules and rigidities and a lack of humanity you see throughout sports right now with the entertainers as we spit on them and throw bottles at them. In that sport, that woman just quit because she is telling all of us, as someone who's anxious around the media and doesn't want to be speaking, and was asked why she's wearing those black names on her mask, says, you tell me why I'm wearing it. We should remember their names. There is what feels like, after a pandemic, I'm telling you, it's crazy down here, Stugatz. People are shooting each other. It
Right.
feels like 1980s Miami, seven Miami issues. Hialeah gunman just going into over a record dispute or a social media dispute. 2 killed, 21 wounded, because people are crazy. And it's spilling over into places. We're spitting on Trae Young. We're throwing popcorn at Russell Westbrook. We're throwing a bottle at Kyrie Irving. The entertainers are not human. Kevin Durant is giving the quote that he's giving, just telling you, please look at us as human beings, right? Kevin Durant is telling you this, and we're in the center of sports being the representative for America. This is Kevin Durant. He says fans got to grow up at some point. I know that being in the house for a year and a half with the pandemic got a lot of people on edge, got a lot of people stressed out. But when you come to these games, you have to realize these men are human. We're not animals. We're not in the circus. You come into the game, it's not all about you as a fan. Have some respect for human beings and have some respect for yourself. Your mother wouldn't be proud of you throwing water bottles at basketball players or spitting on players or tossing popcorn. So grow the bleep up and enjoy the game. it's bigger than you. At the center of this is these athletes continue to represent what is happening in America. As things get crazy, the country club has just told someone who is admitting to mental health issues, you must do this or you will be fined, and we will keep finding you. And if you do not do it, we will default you. And she says, in the age of player empowerment,
Yep.
across a decade of athletes realizing the strength of their individual brands, she rises up and says, no, you're not going to default me. I'm leaving to protect my mental health, and becomes bigger than the sport on the spot at the end of Mental Health Month, as we can have a larger think piece conversation culturally about what's going on in America as a tennis club, where the symbolism is you play literally within the lines. At a tennis club, these are our rules. And she's saying, no, I'm weak. And in that, there is strength for her to admit her mental health issues. And the humanity of the person who just wrestled that away from Serena Williams. She is not in any way weak. Wrestled that entire damn sport away from her. And she is giving voice to, well, I've tried to work behind the scenes with this club, and they just want me to do it their ways. And I'm pleading for mental health from this generation, the social media generation, 23 years old, a new generation, younger than even Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is old in this world when he's an egg chasing people on Twitter. She is young, and she is dealing with all the social ills that come with our addictions to this social media that make mental health hard at a time, Stugatz, that it's just hard to be physically. It's hard to be an athlete. There's so much competition. I don't think that we understand how hard it is to get to where these people are.